Hey everyone, I just got done playing the Leap playtest that ended on January 22nd, 2022. I'm absolutely fucking blown away with what Blue Isle Studios has been able to accomplish with this game. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes, the biggest takeaway from the 10 hours I played is that it is a game you should have wishlisted as of right now and be hyped for. Over my time played, I was literally glued to my seat for what felt like minutes and ended up being hours. At one point I contemplated putting a toilet bowl under my seat. I have not played a game that has made me not use the bathroom when I should have in over 5 years. If that isn't enough to sell you on this game, let's hop into the details. This game is hyperactive and a constant dopamine rush. Time and time again, games are slowing down their movement, grinding the skill gap down until it's nearly non-existent. Games like Battlefield, Apex, Call of Duty come to mind with developers continuously removing fantastic mechanics that allow players to not just aim better than others, but move better than others. Leap is the answer to all of this. Leap doesn't hold back and offers movements similar to games like Tribes, Quake, and Unreal Tournament. You have the dashes that allow you to play for mind games, and superior outplays, a grapple with no cooldown that allows you to traverse the map's environment at tremendous speeds, offering verticality that cannot be matched in the current FPS market. There are 4 different types of exosuits, offering a variety of gameplay choices to fit the needs of several kinds of players that will enter this game. During my experience with the game, I mostly played the Pathfinder exosuit, which will be the main class focused on during this review. I never got sick of playing Pathfinder and felt it fit my playstyle perfectly. I love to rush into a group of enemies from a flank, get as much damage out as fucking possible, and if needed, protect myself with a shield. I actually didn't realize until the last day of the playtest that you could even edit the class, and in and of itself, that proves that the default loadout given was more than enough to do extraordinary work in the arena. I had a multitude of games where I had over 80 kills with at least a 5 KD simply because I was allowed to move the way I wanted and play the way I wanted to. Almost every death felt deserved, as many of them were caused simply due to an overextension or bad positioning. I never once was angry about dying, as just like in Quake, I understand why the deaths occurred. The gameplay is absolutely superb here, and I hope to see improvements in the coming tests up to release. Unfortunately, though, I do have to speak on some of the negatives the game presented during my time with it. Luckily, there isn't many. Bugs is one of them. But number one for me is performance. I have a high-tier rig, was struggling to hold just about 100 FPS at times on the larger servers. In a movement shooter like this, it's imperative to maximize performance for the best experience. I did feel sick at times from 360-degree movement at 60 to 80 FPS compared to the normal 250 plus FPS I experienced in games like Quake and Apex. Fret not though, the developers are aware of this, believe it or not, should be working on it in the coming weeks. Another negative I have is that larger servers felt a little too crazy at times. A single person on a large server couldn't really make a difference. On the last day of the playtest, I had the pleasure of playing on a 10v10 server and it was night and day compared to the larger, more chaotic fights. And to couple on with that, the 10v10 servers, my performance increased dramatically, increased to a stable 150 plus FPS, more than playable and acceptable in my opinion. I do hope though that the optimizations continue and smaller game modes are accounted for, because a single player in a 10v10 experience actually did make a difference compared to the larger servers, so keep it up with that. Number 2 of my list of negatives would be map design. I struggled to enjoy Red Rock as the map suffered from what felt like an oversaturation of orange tinge, and it blended in too well with how enemies are defaultly set color-wise. I also felt the map lacked much movement and outplay potential. There are quite a bit of open areas, and at times getting caught out in the open would cause a fight to end with either a trade or a vulture frag from out west. However, the 2 maps in the playtest, the other 2 maps anyways, were a breath of fresh air, especially Thunder Valley, which ended up being my favorite map in the playtest. I had a blast moving in between buildings, playing mind games with enemy targets to come out winning. I would love a smaller version of Thunder Valley for smaller match sizes, and more maps offering the insane outplay potential that Thunder Valley gave would be absolutely incredible. Number 3 goes hand in hand with number 2. Movement in this game is what you make of it, to a point. In my opinion, the map design is what allows for more intense and fast movement. Let me clarify here and give an example. On Red Rock, you are limited to more of a 2D plane in the open areas, which made killing enemies and dying a lot easier compared to maps like Thunder Valley, where you can vault from on top of a building to beside it to under a bridge, back on top of it, and perform a flank, completely catching an enemy off guard. While I do think the movement system needs some tweaks, the map design is easily what propels the movement from acceptable to incredible. Adding on to some of the tweaks movement needs, I definitely believe that the grapple hook needs to allow for some more momentum-based movement instead of what appears to be a flat speed. Similar to how in Apex the grapple has a skill gap, this game should definitely unlock some of that potential, maybe in the next playtest, who knows. And finally, let's discuss Gunplay. Fucking love it. Absolutely love it. The TTK, in my opinion, is completely fine. I would like to see some of the spread values adjusted and potentially some recoil added, but as of right now, it felt perfectly playable, and that's what kept me playing the fucking game and strapped to this seat. Overall, I'm impressed with Leap. I hope the game can be marketed in a way that appeals to both the casual and competitive audience, and stay true to the playtest, with fixes and adjustments that benefit the game. I cannot wait for my next opportunity to play this game. Blue Isle Studios, you guys did a fantastic fucking job. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.